Hey guys, welcome to video lesson 2.6, solving two-step equations. Be sure you have your notebook, your outline, and a calculator out to complete today's video lesson. If you don't have a calculator, you can just work along right with me. Okay, here we go. We'll have 5 slides from here, so 5 different examples. For this example, what I'd like you to do is anything that's positive, use a plus sign. Anything that's negative, use a negative sign. And anything that's a variable, just use like the letter X or any letter of your choice. So we have this example up here. 2x minus 3 equals negative 5. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with a model. Okay, so anything that you guys see in blue is just describing what we're doing. So the 2 positive green tiles represent the 2x. You guys can just draw x and then another x underneath it. Okay? Then the 3 negatives represent the minus 3. And the equal sign is the equal sign. And then the 5 negatives represent the negative 5. So if you notice, there are 2 operations in this equation. In here, we have multiplication, and in here we have subtraction. We're subtracting 3. So it's called two-step because there are 2 operations to undo. So what does that mean? Well, in a two-step equation, what we need to undo first is any addition or subtraction. So the first step is to undo any adding or subtracting. So if you notice, the inverse of subtracting 3 is adding 3. So what I do to one side, I'm going to do to the other side. Right, I know this is a lot to copy, but totally worth it. All right, now from here, what we're going to do is get rid of this 0 pair here, so goodbye, and we're going to get rid of this 0 pair here, and goodbye to you guys. Okay. So now we have 2 x's left, so there are 2 green tiles left between 2 negative red tiles. So on the left here, when I cancel these out, this is what I'm left with. And on the right, when I cancel out the 2 negatives, is what I'm left with. So finally, what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide each one of these negative signs to an x. So that means each variable is worth negative 1. All right, I know this is a really long, roundabout way to go about this, but again, you might see this on standardized testing. You'll be asked to explain it. I want you guys to understand what it looks like. So here we go. Let's go on to the next example. We're going to do them all mathematically now. In example number 2 here on page 2, what we're going to do is take a look at these 4 equations on the left, and we're going to decide which step we do first. So all you're going to do is match with your handout. So number 1, I see 4 times x minus 3. So we want to undo the addition and subtraction first. So for number 1, we want to look for match the equation with the first step used in solving the equation. So what's the inverse of subtracting 3? And hopefully you're saying letter D, adding 3. Okay, in number 2, it's negative 2x plus 4. So what's the inverse of adding 4? The inverse or opposite of adding 4 would be f, subtracting 4. So why don't you take a second and try 3 and 4 on your own. So you would pause here, try 3 and 4, and then we'll go through the solutions together. So here are the answers for 3 and 4. Negative 3x plus 2. So the inverse of adding 2 would be subtracting 2. So that's letter B. And finally, number 4, 3x minus 2. The inverse of subtracting 2 is to add 2. Okay, so those would be the first steps that we would take to solve problems 1, 2, 3, and 4. Right, now we're going to go on to page 3 of 5. So for page 3 here, negative 3x plus 5 equals negative 2. Remember, step 1 is to undo addition or subtraction first. Then step 2 is to undo multiplication or division second. So here we go. I have my equation, negative 3x plus 5 is 2. So what I'm going to do first is undo my addition or subtraction. So since I'm adding 5, so negative 3 times x plus 5, the inverse of adding is subtracting. So I'm going to subtract 5 to both sides. So that leaves me with, here's my equal sign. The equal sign comes straight down. On the left side, these are my 0 pairs, so say goodbye to these guys. So on the left, all that's left over is negative 3x equals. And on the right, you would take your calculator and do 2 minus 5, which is negative 3. All right, congratulations, you just finished step 1. Now take a look at what you have. Negative 3 times x equals negative 3. So what's the inverse of timesing x by 3? And hopefully you're saying dividing x by 3. For some reason they rewrote this part again. So if you're confused like I was, don't be. So just ignore that because they rewrote it again. So the inverse of timesing by 3 is dividing by negative 3 right in there. I'll erase it so you can see it. So negative 3 divided negative 3 cancels to leave you with x. And negative 3 divided negative 3 reduces to positive 1. So you took step 2 here. The inverse of multiplication is division. So you undid your multiplication by dividing. And congratulations, the solution is 1. Right now let's move on to page 4 of 5. So I have 3 examples here. What I'd like you to do is maybe pause the video, try number 1 on your own, and then we'll do 2 and 3 together. If you think you have a handle on it, do 1, 2, and 3 on your own, and then you can fast forward from here and check your solution. If it's right, you may keep going. If it's wrong, please rewind and listen for the entire explanation. Okay, so here's the solution to number 1. So remember, step 1, you're going to undo addition or subtraction, and in step 2, you're going to undo multiplication or division second. So for number 1, the first thing I'm going to do is subtract 12. I'm going to undo the addition. Okay, so I subtract 12 to both sides. That leaves me with 12x equals, and then 4 minus 12 in your calculator should give you negative 8. Okay, now I go to step 2, and what does step 2 say? Well, step 2 says undo multiplication or division. So 2 times x equals -8, and the inverse of times is divide. So I'm going to divide both sides by 2. So 2 divided by 2 leaves me with x equals, and -8 divided by 2 gives me -4. All right, if you got that right, great work. Congratulations, you just solved the two-step equation on your own. Number 2, so I see -5 times c plus 9. So since there's two operations, I'm going to undo my my addition and subtraction first. So I'm going to -9 to both sides. These cancel out, leaving me with -5x is equal to -16 minus 9. So that's -5c is equal to -25. Now I go to step 2 here, and I'm going to undo this multiplication. So the inverse of timesing c by -5 is dividing by -5. So in here, -5 divide -5 reduces to 1c, or c equals, and -5 divide -5 is 5. Great work if you got number 2 right. We are almost done here, guys. Hang in there. All right, number 3, we have 3 times the quantity of x minus 4. Guess what? Our good friend distributive property is back. So what we're going to do before we even solve is take this 3 and times it to the x, and take this 3 and times it to the 4. The minus sign just comes straight down. So -3 times x is -3x. Minus comes down. -3 times 4 is 12. Bring the equal sign down and bring the 9 down. Now we have a regular two-step equation. Oops, what's going on here? Oh, I see. Okay, sorry about that. I hit a button here. So the inverse of subtracting by 12, since I see multiplication, 3 times x minus 12, so the opposite of subtracting 12 is adding 12. So right in here, we have a 0 pair. So on the left side, we have 3x. And on the right side, we have 21. So 3x equals 21. Now we go to step 2. Step 2 is undo the multiplication or division. So the opposite of timesing x by 3 is dividing it by 3. Okay? And on the left side, 3 divided by 3 reduces to 1x equals 21 divided 3, 7. All right, great work if you're able to do these on your own. Thanks for sticking through it. We have just one more problem here. Sorry, I meant 2. Number 4 and number 5, we have a little bit of fractional work in here, and I know it looks kind of scary right now, but I promise it's not that terrible. So taking a look at number 4, m divided by 2 plus 6 equals 10. So the steps are the same. Step 1, undo addition and subtraction first. And step 2, undo multiplication and division second. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tackle this plus 6 part first, because that's what step 1 tells me to do. So the opposite of adding 6 is subtracting 6. All right, so here are my 0 pairs. Goodbye to you guys. So what do I have left over? I have m divided by 2 is equal to 10 minus 6, or 4. Step 1 is done. Now we take a look at step 2, undo multiplication or division. So here I have m is being divided by 2. So what's the opposite, the inverse of dividing by 2? Yes, timesing by 2. What I do to one side, I do to the other. Remember, timesing by 2 is the same as 2 over 1. These cross reduce. leaving me with m, or 1m, equals 4 times 2, or 8. Yay! Two-step equations. Okay, finally the last one, I promise. This is the very last question. Once again, I see z divided by -3. Let's talk about this negative real quick. The negative on the outside, I always like to attach it to a number and not the variable, because we want to know what z equals, not negative z. So I see adding 5, and I see dividing by 3. So I'm going to get rid of this adding 5 first by subtracting 5. Here are my 0 pairs. Goodbye, guys. These go away. You don't have to be ridiculous like I am. I'm just trying to make a point. So on the left side, I have negative z over 3 is equal to 9 minus 5, and I hope you are saying 4. Okay, so what do I have left here right now? Z divided by -3. Okay. What is the opposite of dividing by -3? You are correct. Timesing by -3, which due to one side, due to the other. And remember, timesing by -3 is the same as -3 over 1. This guy and this guy cancel. And what do you have left over on the left side? Z. Great work. So z equals 4 times a -3 is -12. All right, great work. Thanks for sticking with it. Bring all your notes to class tomorrow, and we'll see you then. Bye.